And welcome back to Vanessa's podcast. So today I have Dr. SEGU Krishna Ramesh, who was born in India and has been living in Dubai for the last 45 years and is here with me. And he's also a trauma specialist, surgeon. Hi there.
Hello, how are you, Vanessa?
I'm doing great. I know that you're doing so much work for so many people and you have been on so many radio show, television show, and you've been interviewed all over the world and so many countries. Tell me about that.
So you want to know? Okay, we are almost in 5 continents and most of the countries besides Dubai, India and Middle East, in Mongolia, and we've gone all the way to the Far East, Australia, okay? In Europe, it is in Belgium, France, Germany. So all these countries, because human beings are the same and they have the same problems. There's no difference. We may look different, our cultures may be different, but the problems we have are exactly the same. So that is why wherever you go, even if you do not know the language, they will resonate with you if you speak the truth. And a person can know when you're speaking the truth. If you are and that is the key. So they will feel it. The spirit inside them will feel that this person is speaking the truth and what he speaks makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's
this
funny.
Has been my journey.
Yesterday, I was listening to a quick podcast, and the lady was saying the 2 things to be successful was grit and and it was basically knowing somebody right away. Like you don't know the person, but you get to be able to differ personality right away, and that was a source of success for relationship success because you're able to attach human spirit with another spirit so quickly, and you're able to see the truth, like you transcending the truth. So
that's true.
Tell me, let's do some live question because you really are into that and you have experienced so many things. Like you say, you had an experience with Jesus Christ. So tell me about that experience.
Oh my God! You straight away went to the highest spiritual experience. Okay, so whenever I was to come to the United States to teach, and even though I'm not a Christian, I was teaching in the church, and most of my students were bishops and nuns, and that was quite surprising. And many a time they would ask me to, it used to happen in the church, and I used to sit there, and they said, this is the place where the Redeemer is. All this was something new for me. I didn't know all this. I didn't understand because I don't have a Christian background. But the fact that they gave so much of respect and they came and attended my classes and they understood Christianity much more deeper when I spoke about it, even though I have never read the Bible. It was just trying to speak to the people, what is the spirit, what is the truth of the spirit, and then they could relate to all this. This has happened in many countries. It has happened with Islam, it has happened with Hinduism, it has happened with Buddhism. So most important in all these religions is the very core idea of the spirit and the truth and love. It's common in all of them. But what happened during that workshop is people started seeing Christ appearing and talking to them, which was strange for me.
Wow.
I couldn't see it. My eyes didn't see it, but those people could see, and this is how he is coming and how he's showing his presence to us. So today we feel as if, we've achieved what we wanted to achieve all our life. This was one of my first experiences, and that was in Philadelphia in one of the churches. And that was a beautiful experience for me. So that I would say, and many other people also come. It's not I who do it. It is the individual. If he is seeking that love from the person whom he worships, be it Christ or be it Krishna or be it Buddha, if they have a sincere desire to experience the person and see, it will happen.
So they saw you like some kind of god over there in Philadelphia? Like it's almost like they never met someone like you. And then like you really brought something new to them that they never experienced.
Yes. But it's not I who do it. What happens is, when you're present, first of all, it was the church. It is place where worship happens. Okay? Everybody comes to let go and pray to God and seek. The very fact the vibrations are different of a church. The way the churches are designed and built is based on the vibrations under the ground. Most of the religious spaces are built like that. So there is already a power existing. And most of the attendees were in the worship of God, and they were talking about God like the bishops and nuns and all. That's what their job is all the time. And then if you can create that environment of oneness, the moment it becomes one, and the moment they forget all the thoughts, they are not worried about anything. They come into that oneness space, they come into the present, they come into the moment, automatically everything switches on. And if there is a heartfelt desire at that time to experience this, it will happen. So you have to be thoughtless, doubtless, have the right kind of environment, and also have the right kind of background in order for you to experience what you seek. That was what I understood from that whole incident.
Wow. You're right. It's like some people, it's very hard to be oneness. There's so much going on in their head, and a lot of people go through so much traumas and they just never seek help or never receive help. So there's no way for them to even know how they can learn to be oneness like you're describing. So you've seen a lot of people like this going through so much mental struggle. What would be your suggestion or your tip or advice on people who have gone through so many traumas and they're like older now and they just don't know how to stay still?
Okay, so even though I'm a doctor, I'm an orthopedic and trauma surgeon, there was a stage when my education failed me. I didn't have a solution for my wife's problem, her disease, because it was a disease which medicine didn't know what is the cause, and all we were doing was treating it empirically with anti-inflammatory medicines, steroids, and anti-cancer drugs. And we were very young at that time, and I didn't want to take all the medicines because it had tremendous side effects. And of course, we were in the productive age. We could have children, so we didn't want to take that. But the suffering was extraordinary. We tried every methodology, but it didn't work. That's when I realized, in spite of so many qualifications, so many degrees, so many educations, it's no use. I really don't know what is the reason for disease. What is the cause of disease? And I need to really find out the cause of disease. And then is when I started going for a search. And when I went for the search, I went to different teachers, different books, different everything, finally realized that I have to unlearn all that I know. I'm too judgmental in opinion, and I'm comparing it with all that I know. I am not letting it happen. And I had to even let go of teachers. I had to let go of books. I had to go into a journey within myself to find out what is the real cause of disease. And the end result of it, disease happens. When you're old, you're all aching, paining, all the problems. That is due to the diseases you carry. And diseases are as a result of persistent stress, whether it's physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress, spiritual stress, environmental stress, whatever kind of stress, chemical stress, food stress, water stress, any kind of stress.
Yeah.
So if there's a persistent stress, that's when you develop disease.
Absolutely.
And the last thing I understood was stress is result of a lack in a system. So that means all of us who are having stress and difficulties and traumas is because something is lacking at the physical, mental, or emotional level. And this continues to lack. And that is why we develop a disease and trauma. So that is a simple answer. So if we can find out what is the stressor, we can automatically reverse the disease.
Absolutely. And it can be hard because everybody is different. It's like a different subject,
Yes.
You got to study somebody's mind and past for years before you can find out which stress is coming from which side of the problem, really. And I totally understand what you mean. Like, it's really hard to go through all this study, all these years of learning, and then have to come to consolidation, and like now you have to unlearn all this, like everything you thought that was to be true. That must be really hard to let go of all this.
The reason to let go is that I want my wife to become all right. I really dearly love her.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I went in the search. And we reversed her whole disease, and we reversed the blood factors. Everything we did it reversed. That means medicine, it's not possible to do that. So we also realized that the problem is created unknowingly out of ignorance by us. And the solution is also us.
That's true. Yeah, I can believe that. Oh, my goodness. So you also help people to find their purpose in the world. So you believe that people, they just don't know how to find it. And then you have a lot of experience with people who are seeking to find their life purpose. So give me an example of somebody you helped in the past, maybe.
Okay. See, people, the way to find the purpose of life is based on what has been the story from the first 9 years, second 9 years, third 9 years, wherever you are in these 9 years. So you can get cues in the things which happen in each of this life. Now I'll give you an example. My father is an engineer, a world famous engineer. He wants me, I'm the only son, he wants me to become the world famous engineer. He's no more, of course, now. And I also want to be like that, because I was so impressed by how he was and how he would be the head of the organization and how he'd present himself, how he would hoist the flag on the Independence Day. So all these impressions as a child I had. And then I saw that my father was extremely strict with me and I didn't know why. And he treated me differently compared to my sisters. And to cut the story short, I ran away from becoming an engineer just because I didn't want any control mechanisms from him. And as a result of this, all happened at the age of 14. And then I decided to become a doctor. And I became a doctor. And you can see there's a lot of things which opened up, which I never realized. And after becoming a doctor, it was necessary. Even I met my wife, my soul partner, also in the medical school. So this is called destiny. It all opens up one after the other.
That's
how you
funny.
see.
Yes.
And then somewhere at the age of 40, I was doing some lectures and talks, and one of my father's friends told him, "Hey, you should come and listen to your son. He's so awesome." He says, "Oh, that useless fellow, that good-for-nothing fellow? What is he going to say?" That's what my father said, and that's how he used to treat me all the time.
Oh, wow.
And he came for that lecture. He listened to the lecture, and when lecture finished, there were almost 300 people, and I was going out. He wanted to leave because he was tired. So he came and said, "I'm tired. Me and mom are going to leave. You continue with your question answer. But I only want to tell you one thing. You have beaten me to it. You have become a better person than what I was." And he said, and from that day onwards, he never said a thing. So that was the story of my beginning of how to help people find their destiny.
Wow.
So there are many examples. I'll keep it short. This experience should help you and make the story interesting for you. But that was the truth. And after that, he never said a thing to me till he left this world.
Wow, that's an amazing story. He never said a thing to you after that? Wow.
He used to always say, "You're good for nothing, you're useless," all that. Never said that.
Oh, okay. Oh, finally, it took some time, huh? It took a lot of work.
So basically, he wanted me to be a better person. A father wants his son to be a better person or equal to him. So they always strive for that, but it was his style of striving was different than others. That's what it is. I'm from the old school.
Yes, I understand, yeah. And it's just good that he actually said something, that he didn't just ignore you and, kept going with his old way. And then he admitted it. And it must have felt great, to have that. Yeah. And so people can find more about your practice and everything